Right, hello and welcome to the Matchday Vlogs Punts and Predictions preview show for the upcoming game against Manchester United at the mighty St Mary's Stadium. We have old man G in the studio, we have Jack in the studio, and we are going to be getting into that preview next, coming up. Look at this, we got three in the room on a preview. This is the first time we've had the opportunity to have an opposition preview on a preview show. So this is great to have. How are we all keeping, boys? We all well?
Yeah, man, feeling good. Ready for another big weekend of it. Title races on. I'm feeling it.
Extreme confidence there, right from the off, Jack. That's what we like to see. And is there a similar amount of confidence from our friends up north?
I don't know. This is the thing with United. You just don't know what to expect, and this is kind of what it reminds of when we did the last, preview. I think I said the same thing. You just don't know what to expect. So almost a year later, you're like,
right. Who knows? Who knows? Well, before we jump straight into the preview for the United game, you have to bear with us, old man G. We're going to talk a little bit about the Wolves game. I'm not sure if you got a chance to see the game on Monday night, but it ended 1-1. It was a fairly competent display, I thought, in the first half, fairly evenly spread, I thought, between the two sides. If I'm honest, I thought Wolves bossed it a bit in the second half. They really made some changes. And as we said in the live stream, both me and Jack were like, 10 minutes ago, take a point right now. So it was disappointing that Theo Walcott didn't get a second goal to make it a bit more comfortable, but a point in the Molineux is not all bad. Is that similar to what you thought there, Jack?
Yeah, it was. First half, seemed like Wolves didn't know what formation they were playing. They were trying to get used to everything, and we really took advantage of that. And in the second half, they really pulled their shape in together. So, and then we just seemed to die off. At the beginning of the game, you're right. We would have just said a point would have been pretty good here because they're a really difficult team at home. But then by the end of the game, you did feel like, oh well, that was 2 points lost there. That was such a clear chance from Walcott. And the more you watch it, the more you're like, oh come on, mate, that one needs to be finished.
Yeah.
But in all, like we say, a point's not a bad place to be right now. Still unbeaten.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought we were a little bit off the pace. We didn't look as quick and as urgent, certainly in the second half, whether or not that was to the credit of Wolves. But as I kept saying during the live stream, I thought down the left side, Djenepo just looked dwarfed by their defense.
Djenepo's had a hard couple of weeks. For the last 2 weeks, he's had Saint Maximum and Traore on the wing that he's playing on, and he's been really out muscled on that side. And as a player that you really want him to run at those sort of teams and give them a bit of trouble, it seems he's just trying to adapt to Ralph's game of just be smart with the ball, hold the ball up, look for the smart pass or just for the safe pass and go. Whereas usually what he's really good at is getting the ball and going. And it just seems he's trying to find that middle ground and just trying to adapt to the game a bit better. But it was that was definitely our really weak side.
Yeah, I mean, he's still making chances, but you know, you could arguably say the same thing about Stuart Armstrong on the opposing side. But like we said, I think we'll stick a pin in that one. A point's a point, and to remain unbeaten is great. So moving on to Sunday's game against Man United, and as you can see by the three people on the screen here, we have an opposition preview, and I am intrigued to know what your opinion of the season so far has been, old man G, because from what everyone else can see, I think Man United are sort of picking up the pace. I mean, they've got a couple of league wins recently. I think it was Everton, you beat 3-1.
Yes.
Another one of Ollie's last game. And then you had
a lot of those recently.
He's getting a lot of those.
Games,
so, man on a wire there. And the performance against West Brom, which I thought was a little lackluster. I mean, considering the strike force you got there. But let us know your thoughts. Where's Man United at the moment?
It's like I said to the last match review. It's like you still don't really know what to expect of Manchester United because a lot of it is based on how we play. So it was clear that at the beginning of the season, I think the first couple games, the team just didn't look fit. A lot of the players didn't look fit. And Solskjaer did actually come out and say, I think, what did he say in the interview? That like, because we obviously played in the Europa League quite far in, then obviously players in the holidays. So like, I think the first preseason game, whatever, there were only about 5 players that really played or fit. So I do think the fitness, at least in the first couple of games, was an issue. Okay. I don't think that that's an issue now. Regarding like, but clearly Solskjaer is not, from what I can see, 100% set on what his team is. The only thing I think going into this game from a confidence point of view is that Manchester United's away form from Old Trafford has actually been very, very good. With the odd exception of Istanbul, it's more of a blip. In the league and elsewhere, like they're unbeaten, I think, since January. So we seem to play, for whatever reason, we seem to just play a lot better away from home. So which is good for us because we're not playing at home.
It's a big old stadium that when it's empty. I'm sure it echoes around. But yeah, I mean, I think that the team selection thing is been quite apparent because you brought in some players that haven't featured where they were kind of big headlines on Sky Sports News and then they're sat on the bench. I mean, do you think that's causing a problem that these players are coming in not fitting with Ollie's regime, or is he running the show in that regard and sort of requesting these players?
Well, this is interesting. This is why I think the game in the week was actually quite interesting because for the first time you saw Van der Beek and Bruno kind of in the same team. Fred was there. And then something that we haven't seen was that Marcus Rashford actually played on the right. So Cavani actually started, Rashford was on the right, Martial was on the left. And while Rashford isn't a right winger by any sense of imagination, he still did a decent job on that side. So I think that might give Ollie options going into the Southampton game. I suspect he will start Rashford and Martial. Greenwood traditionally would have been there, for example. I think there's some underlying things in the background, maybe fitness, maybe personal. So I would suspect he's going to go with the same front three. And because of that, I think you have a little bit of a different dynamic with this Manchester United team going forward because Cavani, for example, is much more of a traditional number 9 target man, will get at the defenders type of heading situation, as opposed to Rashford and Martial that are more inside forwards, coming in the side, etc.
Yeah. Can I just ask you what did you think of Cavani when he got signed? What was your immediate reaction? Were you positive? Because I have to say, me and Jack were chatting about it. We were thinking, like, really? Like you were going after Jadon Sancho, and then all of a sudden, well, you got Cavani. You know, it was a shock.
It was a desperation signing. There's no doubt about that. Like, there's no manager, because even when he got signed, because he wasn't in a bubble, he had to be quarantined for like 2 weeks. So it was clear that this was not a signing that was done with planning or thoughts or anything like that. It was just, we need to just get a player in.
Right.
You know, he's a bit injury prone sometimes. He's 33, so it's kind of like, But much like with Zlatan to a certain extent, like when he's obviously fit and he's playing, he's obviously a good player. He's a baller. He's a clinical finisher. He can work. So he gives us a different options. So I guess we just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to sell a load of Man United shirts with Cavani on the back in all parts of the world. So you probably made up your money on shirt sales alone. So if not, you've got that.
I hope so. We've got to get something from him because the last South American we signed.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
didn't really work out for us. So.
No, kind of didn't have much of a goal ratio. So it's interesting. Any goals? Yeah. So it's interesting you say that about the sort of the team selection, because I think that's a bit like what we were going through earlier in the season, earlier last season. You know, everyone's talking about the start to the 2019-2020 season, and I kept saying this, like every time the team sheets come up, we were just like, and people were giving up in sort of picking the teams, like name your 11, we're just like no idea. So it can definitely have an impact if you don't have that consistent starting 11. And as we're now finding, actually the result I think for us that impressed me the most was actually the win against Newcastle, because we were forced into changes. You know, we had injuries at the left back position, so effectively we had no left backs available, because I think Ollie kept hold of one that we're trying to get on loan from you guys. But we moved our formation, and I think everyone was a little bit nervous with where that was going to go, and actually it worked out fine. So yeah, all feeling good. But How about you, Jack? How are you feeling for this one? What's your general feeling?
You know my general feeling because you asked me for a title for this video earlier on, and I was very braggadocious and just said easy 3 points. Now I don't really mean that.
He did. He literally.
This is going to be clipped. This is going to be clipped.
Yeah.
You know, clip
exactly.
This,
Exactly.
Hey man,
yeah.
that's views. That's views, bro. I'm taking them. But I was saying to Mike before the video, all for me, it all depends on what Ollie's mindset is going into a game. That's where I feel like Southampton have the tools to play against a defensive United team. If you guys come with the two set defensive, having to cover the centre backs the entire game, we're going to have a great time. But the annoying thing is Ollie's now realised like Van der Beek doesn't just have to play in one position, he can play him with Bruno, and that's where it could struggle. I feel like that our high line could be really exposed by your front three and the attack.
Yeah,
quite like the Spurs game, really. That's what that's what's going on in my head. But luckily for us, our back four have been really solid the past couple of weeks, and Vestergaard stepped up. I was talking to Mike earlier on about Romeo in the middle. Romeo's tackling is off the charts. I think he's third in the league for tackles this season. And he's fit. I double checked it. It's 51 yellow cards about a red card, which is just nuts. He said he knows where the challenges need to come in, and he's all the way up on the pass. And he's just so solid in the middle there that he gives me quite good confidence with some of the matchups.
You tell those Spurs fans. Tell the Spurs fans they bought the wrong player.
Yeah, the wrong one. They're mugs. They're mugs, mate.
Stick the other one in the shop
They
window.
think he's Zidane, but they don't know better, mate.
Well, they think they're going to win the title as well. I still think they're going to do a Spursy, but that's for another day.
Bottles at the ready. Let's hope we're not eating those words. So generally, Jack, you've got a
listen. It's the way we're playing right now. I've got all the hope in the world that this could be 3 points. And before the Wolves game, I thought this would be the one where we get 3 points, and then we'd probably get a draw at United because we draw a lot against United in recent form. Then after we drew against Wolves, it's like we need to really pick this up, and a big win. It would be a really big win for us to beat United in the current situation where we are for points. It would show a massive sign of improvement for Southampton. Yeah. But a bit of respect on the name just to beat a decent club this season. So
yeah,
I'm going in with confidence, but I know full well who we're playing. I do understand that Bruno Fernandes. I understand that Romeo has got 51 yellow cards. He's going to give away some fouls, and one of them will probably be in the box.
Yeah, if Martial's playing, there's going to be at least one penalty.
It's happening, man. There's no avoiding it.
No. We're already 1-0 up already. Because
there's one penalty. Yeah, the Bruno Fernandes penalty. We've definitely got to consider that in our score.
You win that many titles, man. You get to use aggregate. It's crazy.
But looking back at the previous encounter, I mean that game at Old Trafford was nuts because it ended 2-2. But there were times on that where you guys are absolutely devastating. I mean, I think we went 1-0 up and everything looked like it was going fantastically well, and then in quick succession, 2 goals just came from, well, I say from nothing, but literally they're just so clinical and devastating. It's just like, wow, there's Man United, they're back again. And
then you equalize because of one of the weaknesses in our team, which is a one Harry Maguire. I'm just going to keep it real. You know, Harry Maguire, he's I don't know what else to say to him, really. I mean, he's our captain. In my personal opinion, I'd rather Bruno, but it is what it is. But the big issue with Harry Maguire, right, and this is where we're going to exploit, is that two things. One, he doesn't really know when, he lacks a bit of positional sense, doesn't really know when he should drop. So he doesn't really anticipate. So, ball over the top, pass or whatever, he doesn't anticipate quick enough, and then he's often caught. The other thing as well is that despite the fact that he's the captain, for whatever reason, he seems to always leave the taller man for someone else like Lindelof to mark. Now, we know that Lindelof can't head in the air, is shorter than Maguire, is not as good. We know that, everyone knows that. So a reasonable captain would say, like Van Dijk at Liverpool, hey, I'm the tallest guy, I'm the captain, I'll take the biggest, that's basic football. Maguire doesn't seem to do that. And so many times we can be caught out in the air because he doesn't actually mark the right person. So I think if Southampton are going to get something from the game, it's going to be through this guy. And that's why we often have to play that protection of a Freddie McTominay or Matic, because we're trying to protect those two as opposed to, just being able to be free and what have you.
And that's the crazy thing, because that equalising goal at Old Trafford was scored by our shortest player in our squad. So it's just quite fascinating that we're able to do that. But you bring up Harry Maguire, and I think I don't think we've got enough time on the internet to talk about Harry Maguire at the moment. But, it is a worry, I think, for a Man United fan, to looking at this any fixture, the way Harry Maguire's been playing, and then when you use the same sentence, and there's Lindelof, who's not as good as Harry Maguire. Just seemed a little bit, this is a Man United.
It's that weird thing of like individually they're both wicked centre backs, but together they just don't understand how to play it. They just don't. It's Armstrong for us this weekend is going to be massive on that wing, because when he cuts into those positions, he's going to be the guy that's going to be taking on Maguire. And Maguire just seems to open up his body and just allow people to run at him. And we just got to have that bravery this weekend. Just be like, we can run at Maguire. Don't worry about that. You got De Gea to worry about.
I think there's also one variable. I think we're still also seeing, like, from what we see of Alex Telles, for example, he's obviously Manchester United's new left back. Played very well against PSG. Probably had a very good game, and even against Istanbul had a very solid game as well. So this will probably be his. I mean, he played against West Brom, but I think everyone was just genuine. So we are interested to see a lot more of this guy, because unlike Shaw, Alex Telles is a lot more attacking. Will put a lot more balls in, especially if Cavani's playing. So I would expect from Manchester United a lot more crosses into the box if Telles and Cavani are playing, pushing forward, and he's quite solid defensively. Whereas Wan-Bissaka, like decent defensively, but going forward on that right side. So I'd expect a lot of crosses and balls from that left side a lot more than there were in the previous encounter.
Yeah, no, have to watch out for those. So as we enter the most audacious part of the show, where we talk about our score predictions. So whilst we are thinking about ours, anyone in the chat section just want to chuck in what you think the score prediction will be for the game on Sunday. Whose turn is it to go first? It is my turn technically, but I kind of want our guest to go first. Actually,
it's only polite.
It's kind of the
sure. This is. I think the last time I predicted a draw, I actually think the last time I actually predicted a draw, because I didn't. I was so we're dropping points, but I'm a bit more confident now for the win because of how good our away form is, and that I think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to make changes. So I'm probably going to go. Can we keep a clean sheet? I don't think so. So I'm going to go for 2-1 to Manchester United.
Okay.
With a penalty from Bruno.
I was going to say.
Obviously.
So a 2-1 with a penalty from Bruno. Yeah, that's pretty much a given. There will be one goal to Man United, that's sure, even despite Alex McCarthy's great form. Jack, do you want to go next?
Yeah, go on then. I think
brace yourselves, everyone. It's going to be big. Come on.
No, it's not. It's going to be 1-0, and it's going to be a really long game. I think it's going to be just a drawn out game. Us, a bit like us against City. Not to give you too much praise. Don't let that go to your head. It's.
Oh, Jack, that was cold. Seriously, man.
But
I said opposition bans, but that.
That's what I told. Clip it up when I'm wrong. It's fine.
I'll be on the post-match stream. Don't worry.
I'll be getting calls. Suddenly people got my number.
I
think it's going to.
Just
notice Atlanta are 1-0 up, just in case it makes you feel any better.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I've got the Inter game on the background. They're interesting character. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's a lot like the Wolves match. It's going to be us. Is Ings back this weekend? I don't know how much longer we got to wait.
No, I think it's going to be probably the Sheffield United game. Brighton maybe.
So who's playing up top for you guys then? Sorry,
it'll most probably be Shea Adams and Theo Walcott. I'm going to assume.
Okay.
But if it was up to me, it'd be Theo Walcott on Gineppo's side, and it would be Obafemi and Adams up top. If that was the case, 1-0. I think it's just going to be quite a long game, and we're going to have to hold you off quite a little bit. But again, lost in midfield, I think. Just going to be a little bit held up. So a nice 1-0 from me.
A nice 1-0. When has a 1-0 ever been nice? It's been incredibly nervous for us.
Hey, man.
But there we go. Right, my turn. I'm also going to go for a 2-1, but I'm going to go for it in the opposite direction. So for Southampton, opposite direction to you, old man G, by the way.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Where I was going. I can see a Man United penalty. And yeah, I can see Shea Adams doing well in this game. I think he's, did well to get the assist on Monday night. And I think he's in great form at the moment. So all things being well, whether or not we'll have the same formation that we had against Wolves, it's possible. It's quite likely. I hear what you're saying about Obafemi, Jack. I just get the impression, though, that he only...
No one likes him. No one likes him. You're right.
I love it when he plays. But considering the comments from Ralph, though, I just think he was on the bench only because Redmond got a knock. And I think that was the only reason. Mainly because when it came time to rotate and put another striker on the pitch on Monday night, Shane Long came on. And it was like, if there was intention to have Obafemi on the bench, he would have come on. So
hey, man, fastest Premier League goal in Premier League history. You know, you can't argue. I can't argue his accomplishments.
That's true. There we go. So there we go. We got a 2-1 from our man G to Man United, a 1-0 to Southampton from Jack, and a 2-1 to Southampton from me. Let's jump into the chat section, see what everyone's thinking. We've got a very confident 2-0 from Tom. He doesn't think there's going to be a Man United penalty. So there we go. That will be the reason there. And we've got a 2-1 from Charlie, who does think there's going to be a Man United penalty. So I'm sure there could possibly be a goal from open play, but we shall see.
People just like to foul our players. This is the problem. If you don't foul us in the box, then there'll be no penalty. But there seems to be the recurring theme that you just foul Martial usually or Rashford, and the penalty comes. So that would just be my advice generally. Don't foul the United players in the box, and you'll be good.
There we go. Well, I'm going to get back onto that and just quickly. Gaming with Hype Slug records going to be 2-1 Southampton. So lots of thoughts for that. There.
We don't do draws on this channel. We don't do them.
I get told off if I predict the draw.
They're boring, aren't they? But choose a side of the fence.
2-2 last time.
Get off the fence. I ain't having it.
But I have one more question for you, Ahmed G.
Cool. The
penalty decision that got overturned for West Brom. Was it a penalty?
So to be honest, when I first
saw politician talk, straight talk.
It should have been. I think it was a penalty, but the only reason why I could think of why it wasn't given because I don't know how they interpreted the penalty was that from a specific angle you can see that his foot does touch the ball first. Yeah. Clearly, shin obviously takes the player. So I don't know whether in the now modern rule of penalty, VAR checking or whatever, because what I didn't understand about it was he went to the monitor and overturned it. Right. So it wasn't like it was like he looked at it, didn't give it, then he went to the monitor, looked at it, and then overturned it. So why did he overturn? It wasn't like back in the day when the VAR people would speak in the phone and were like, it's a penalty, overturn or whatever. He actually went to see it. So I don't understand why he overturned it if it wasn't for the fact that he thought that Bruno Fernandes clicked the ball first and then his shin went through. Because I don't understand why. That's the only thing I can think of.
It's a strange one, and I think that's a big confusion from fans. And the officials are obviously told exactly what to do, but they're trying to make the perfect decision rather than not affect the game and how it's being played. And I think there was another circumstance of Atlanta 2-0 up against Liverpool. Fascinating. Sorry. The same thing happened with the Aston Villa versus Brighton game. And, he did make contact with the ball, but he took the player out. And I think that the point was made, if that had happened anywhere else on the pitch, it would have been a free kick. And you kind of think, you can't really argue with that.
This is why there needs to, I think, be clarity with the laws and rules of the game. Like what actually is the same thing with handball, same thing with things. Like you need to be clear with people, You know, so if, for example, like with a case of penalty situation, that the rule is as long as the player gets a touch on the ball, it doesn't matter if there's any follow through, then that's fair enough. But I think a lot of the issue with this is that there's too much ambiguity, and VAR's kind of still made things more ambiguous, which is strange.
Yeah. Well, let's hope there's no controversial decisions. There we go. Tom's put up in the chat here the Walcott incident versus Newcastle. Oh yeah, another one where he got absolutely clattered.
Yeah,
and we were like looking at it thinking like, how is that not a penalty? And the fact, you know, you made a point that the officials went over to the monitors to have a look. It's like, how was that not reviewed? And how was that like? There was no contact with the ball. He completely wiped out the player, and VAR doesn't even interact whatsoever. So, and I think that's the frustrating thing, really, is that the inconsistency. But when you've got different officials working on computer systems, it's going to be inconsistent. It's always going to be inconsistent. You're never going to get away from that. So
we're like, I would say, like 5 matches out from managers having like the contest button just. Stop the game. This is what look at this. Look at this one.
People are saying that teams should have like, I think, do they have it in tennis or cricket where you have like free like
challenge
in a challenges like a game or something. So you sort of, you know, contest it and do something. I don't know.
Maybe that like, wow, you know, the start-stop nature of our game at the moment, maybe that would make it 10 times worse. But yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you might see a case of when Walcott went down.
Wouldn't you kind of love to see Jose with that button?
His hand would never be off it.
It would be like one game is done, just like
yeah, he'd be like playing Hungry Hippos, wouldn't he? He'd be doing this the whole time.
This is the worst case scenario, is him having it, so we'll try it out in this game.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a quick question to you guys? Actually, like, obviously, Southampton doing so far doing quite well, obviously, compared to
normal for us. Normal.
What's your expectation? What's the ceiling? Like, what's your minimum, and then what's your maximum for what Southampton could do this season?
Oh, that is a big question. It has many levels. Can I go first on that, Jack? Do you mind?
You go for it.
Okay. So I think with anything, a football fan generally has expectations, as you say, and where they finish depends on how happy they are at the end of the season. I think for me, I'd love to see us challenging for Europe, and if that's my expectation, I'm not sure it's my expectation. I just love to see it, and I think we're playing good football, and it'd be disappointing in a way if we can't take it further than what we did last season. Just by the pure fact that we've had a good start to the season. My worry is our squad depth. We don't have like, for instance, a few weeks back when we had no left backs for the Newcastle game, and there are circumstances like that, and we have a striker who's then injured, and suddenly we've got a right-sided midfielder playing in the striker position, and it's stuff like that that brings us back down to reality and makes me think maybe it's a little bit of a stretch too far to think about Europe. But if we can still pick up draws and wins, then who knows? So what is my expectation? Higher than we did last season. I'd love to see us finish 7th or 6th or something like that.
Okay.
Is that my expectation? I don't know if I've answered the question there.
No, that makes sense. Especially with the likes of Wolves and Sheffield United sort of tapering off a bit. I think there isn't a good opportunity to kind of replace that void, you know. So yeah, okay. No.
Yeah. How about you, Jack? Where are you at?
My expectation at the beginning of the season that it was mid-table 10th, and really, honestly, hasn't changed. I'm just really, I'm enjoying how we're playing right now. We're playing really great football, but I also understand the limitations, like Mike was saying, of the squad depth, the league around us and what's going on. So maybe now the season's in, it's changed a bit because all the other teams around us are sort of doing weird things. Everyone's having weird seasons and not doing anything right. So apart, the football fan in me is like, anything could happen this season. Maybe it could
be win the league.
Yeah, maybe we're going to win the league. It's Europe. Like, just, you can think of anything, but my expectations are no different. It's, 10th to 8th is where I thought we were going to be this season. Now I'm maybe thinking, okay, well, 8th then. That's where now we're into it. 8th is probably where we would like to be. But I'm a Southampton fan. I was there at 9-0, and now I'm here. So I'm just nice to be level playing football and watching football and going, this is good. This is nice. Jamie Vardy's not on another one. Like it's nice to just be able to watch Southampton play and be like, oh, they're passing it around at the back. That doesn't scare the life out of me. You know, it's going up front. Well, someone might score because we're not on a 8-game drought of not scoring. You know, it's
right.
It's just nice to watch football, like decent football at St Mary's again, even though we're not there. It's just good to see it. So expectations wise, same as ever. Mid to high table now. You know, mid to 8th. So no different. Yeah. No different.
Two things there, Jack. Firstly, you brought up the Leicester result like twice then. I think there's going to be so many people unsubscribing from this channel because you've done that. Secondly, when did you become the realistic one on this show? What happened?
I've always been the realistic one. I'm just
Who are you? What have you done with Jack?
I'm just a big dreamer. The fact that I even mentioned title conditions, like I said the words title challenges in that. So you know the fact that title challenges, my friend. If Leicester can do it, anyone can do it. Mate, Liverpool did it. Liverpool did it, and they did it with our players. You know what I mean?
That is true.
You know what I mean, man?
They did it. Yeah, that is true.
They did it with our players, man. So we've got the Liverpool winning team for the next 5 years. So we just need to get them ready for now.
Yeah. So speaking of title contenders, what is your expectation, Manchi, for this season?
I mean, I'm probably not going to change what mine was at the beginning of the season because I looked at United and I was like, once again, United's transfer window was garbage. And once again, other rivals around the top 6 strengthened. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still inconsistent and experienced. So based on that, my expectation was 4th place with maybe a trophy like a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup or something to show some improvement, given the lack of investment in the summer in comparison to people left, etc. So yeah, 4th place, a trophy is my expectation. If we can get further than that, like 3rd or maybe a very good run in the Champions League, then fair enough. But yeah, that's my expectations of the club. That might piss off a lot of United fans who are like, we should be competing for the league. And I'm like, well, I'm a bit more of a realist. And I know that we're not really there yet or anywhere near that. Yeah.
And would you be happy with that 4th position? I mean, it's a bit of a weird question, I know, but in terms of like your expectation, I mean, arguably, considering results previous in the season, you were kind of a little bit fortunate to get that 4th spot when you did. So, I mean, to maintain that with the turbulence you've had, you'd be happy with that for this season and then push on for next season?
I mean, to be honest, like it'll be the first time since Sir Alex that if we got 4th that we actually got top 4 in back-to-back seasons, which would actually be a first. And then I think it's just that unlike Chelsea, United for some reason can't seem to strengthen in one transfer window. So you're kind of like, we know the positions that we need to strengthen. We know we need to get a centre back, a better one. And if you're at areas, so it's kind of like just trying to sort of slowly but surely close the gap. So as long as I see some improvement over last season, given what we had, and that certain players like Bruno and Van der Beek can settle. Well, to be honest, if Bruno Fernandes gets injured, we're screwed. It's basically the long story. If Bruno's fit all season, we'll get top 4. If he gets injured, we've got a problem. So that's basically where we are.
How are you feeling with Ole? Would you rather Poch, or you man behind Ole?
There's a lot of Ole in, Ole out. I've sort of become what I call Ole indifferent, which is my 3rd option.
Yeah, I like it. I like it, man. That's the way to be.
You know, Mike is like, yeah, typical politician. Of course.
You can't have
He's on that fence, Mike.
He is.
Push him.
Because I think it's because there's a lot of the realist in me, because there's a lot of United fans expending a lot of energy over it, and the realist in me is like, given where Ole is and given where Jose Mourinho was before he got sacked. Jose Mourinho was, I think, some 12 or 15 points off 4th before he got sacked. So when I look at where Ole is now, I'm like, he's not in a position right now that you can say he should be sacked.
Yeah,
you know, right. He's potentially qualifying for the Champions League. and then looking at the league, even though we're 10th, in terms of the actual total number of points we are with our game in hand from 4th, it's like maybe 3, 4, so it's nothing, so he's just not in the position. If he was 15 points from 4th, then I'd be like, yeah, this guy's going to go, there's no chance, Ollie out, etc. But he's just not in that situation, so he's not going to get sacked. So why expel the energy? That's
right.
my
you're at a point now where he's doing enough to see him out. It'd be too much. It'd be worse to get rid of him at this point, I would say. It'd be worse to bring Poch in halfway through the season.
It's still debatable. I still think Poch is a better coach. So, but it's just like he needs to do something.
Yeah.
If you have like successive losses, but this is the problem: is that like next week he'll go and beat PSG, and you're like, okay, you can't. You know what I mean? You can't sack him after he's just spanked PSG 3-0 or something. It's just this is the problem. He's like
he summons like 5-0.
He summons the Odin Force from I don't know, Asgard or something every time he's close to getting sacked. I just don't get it.
It's just a movie, isn't it? When they make the movie of it, it's going to be wicked. It's like, and he's almost like, oh, he's back, it's fine. It's going to be intense.
Yeah. I mean, of course, there was lots of comments recently, obviously with the success that Southampton have had in regards to Hasenhüttl, and the kind of always the big six going after the successful managers. But
Arsenal, you never know, with Arteta sort of being a bit questionable right now, then Hasenhüttl might be close as well.
The thing is with this football management lot is that they're all pretty much on the same money, as far as I can see. So I'm thinking, like, what is the attraction of going somewhere and having a severe problem to figure out, rather than having a system that is working and you've got a very strong bond of trust? This is me going to my realistic side again, Jack. That's what I'm doing. Hasenhüttl is definitely staying for another 10 years.
Do you know what? And one side of me believes everything you say, Mark, and the other side of me says Hasenhüttl would love to go around and like Aubameyang's whip. Do you know what I mean? Him and Hasenhüttl and Aubameyang in that gold Lamborghini. Like, it's hard to say no to that. It's hard to say no. I understand.
But I just think perhaps the optimist in me is just thinking that the project that we got going on at Southampton is bigger than.
This is the worst bit about this form. This is the worst bit about this form is now everyone's like, oh, some good stuff over there, isn't there?
Right.
That is, and now it's like, no, maybe we should just dip it forward a little bit, just so everyone leaves everyone alone.
Yeah, I think the bigger worry we got is players and player wages, because you look at people talking about Danny Ings and the like, other footballers who are performing far lesser level are on 2-3 times what he's earning a week, and these football players only have a finite window,
and they all work at Arsenal.
Finite window to make their money so they can retire and become a successful pundit on Sky Sports. And I just that is where the league is a little bit broken in my opinion. It's the fact that the wages are so out of kilter.
United are a prime example of that complete and total distortion of paying ridiculous wages for players that don't deserve it.
Alexis Sanchez.
I mean, at least to be fair, he had some sort of talent, even though he was useless. I mean, I'm even talking about Phil Jones. Like that guy is on, I think, maybe 150k a week at least, and you're like, what does this guy do? And he's still there. So it's you're absolutely right. The rate structure is beyond the joke. So
and what's Ings on 80k?
Ings? It's like, how can Danny Ings be on 80k and Phil Jones, who I sometimes question whether he's actually a professional footballer. I just think that, like, what was it? When you had when you had those tryouts, if you had tryouts when you were a kid, and you did that one sort of skill move, and people were like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I just feel like he had that one slide tackle session when he was in an academy or something, and then somehow people thought he was going to be like Maldini.
Yeah. So there we go.
There we go.
That is legitimately how I got into the only other football team I play for. I did one friendly and put on one big slide challenge. They were like, yeah. Worst decision they ever made.
Made a big impact. Well, I think we've been talking about 40 minutes here about various things about Southampton and Man United. Any final thoughts, Jack, for the game on Sunday while we close this up?
No final thoughts for the game apart from it's going to be a fun one. I think. I honestly think it's going to be an entertaining game. just back and forth. The Wolves game was fun because it was back and forth. It's just we need to start putting stuff away. I'm just very excited for it. Just one last question before we go. I got a text really early this morning from a friend of mine in Iron Appa, and it just said the FIFA awards are awful. Why isn't Bruno Fernandes in the top 5? I'd just like to know, as another United fan, just so I can put an argument to bed, should he be nominated for FIFA Player of the Year?
I mean, I said okay.
It started in January.
Yes, actually, yes, I would.
What?
I would. Because the impact that Bruno Fernandes had, like I think it was just like was it 35 games? I think 26 goals, like 13 assists, something like that. His stats as a midfielder are some of the best, if not the best, in Europe, and certainly in the Premier League. So there's a lot of focus on the fact that, he only scores penalties. Okay, yeah, like out of 26 goals, like 9 of those are penalties. So a lot of those goals have come from open play. So the sheer impact that this guy has done, as well as the assist numbers, I mean, he's got to be at least up there as one of the best midfielders in Europe right now, you know?
Yeah.
So,
but no.
Like name me some better midfielders right now in 2020.
Romeo.
Yeah, Romeo. 51 yellow cards and not a single red, my friend.
Yeah. Oriol Romeo. Straight in. Yeah. The player Spurs should have bought. Oriol Romeo.
Boom. Mic drop. Don't need an answer anymore.
Well, you can write to the FIFA awards guy, guys. Nominate Oriol Romeo. He needs to be there, you know, as a Saints fan, you know. So
don't worry, man. That hashtag is already trending. Justice for Oriol.
Back over to you, old man G. Any final thoughts for the game on Sunday?
I'm looking forward to it, like you guys. Again, specifically because I don't know what team we're going to pick, and sometimes that's just part of the ride of Manchester United right now. But if we pick something similar to what we did against Istanbul, with maybe 1 or 2 changes, I think we can do something away from home. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this game.
There we go. Lots of confidence from both sides. I mean, in terms of my final thoughts, I would like to see us not be beaten and us to remain our unbeaten in run. I think that'd be fantastic to see. Do I think we can do it? I think if we can keep up the intensity that we had before the Wolves game, because I still don't think we were quite at it. Whether or not the international break made us a little bit lethargic. The boys getting 4 days off. Yeah, let's hope it's an intense game and a good game of football. But Southampton are playing great football, entertaining football, and just feeling generally quite positive. So it's a good position to be in. And, it's not a must win for anyone. Well, might be for Man United, I guess, in that regard. But there we go. But Jack, thanks for joining us tonight. Oh, man, G, thanks for joining us tonight. It's been a fun one. Thanks to everyone in the chat section who's been joining us, chiming in with all the comments. This has probably been our longest live stream preview show that we've done. So if you're watching this on replay, let us know in the comment section. And fair play to you for reaching this far. But as always, remember that like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we will see you all on Sunday. We'll be doing a live stream for the watch along, will we?
Yeah, of course we will. I ain't doing nothing else.
And I think it'd be wise to have, of course, there'll be an invitation on Manji for you to join us for the post-match show. Join us at half-time if you like, if it's going really well for you. But
it depends. Yeah, that all depends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The invitation might fade.
You might be already. You might already be clipping me up by then.
You see some strange Twitter activity, you know. So
yeah.
We'll keep an eye on that. Excellent stuff. Right then. Well, remember, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. All right. Cheers. See you.
Bye.